What's up traders, this is Marco and I want to give you another weekly preview for the coming trading week, as I'm doing this every week, mostly on Sundays. So I hope you enjoy your weekend so far. And what you can see here is the daily ES chart. So one candle that you can see here equals one trading day. And as you know from our preview videos, there's a huge downtrend working lower. This pretty much started January last year, and we had a couple of confirmations of this downtrend. And I will zoom in here a bit more so you can see the last recent price action. And in October last year, we started this uptrend here working higher. You can see this green uptrend here, and we had a break of the structure. And now we had a couple of legs to a new high. So this uptrend here, what you can see, had a break and a retest of the extremes. So that means that this uptrend is played out by now. But we still have this huge downtrend working lower, and we had the first break of this downtrend. So we are in a very interesting situation right now, because after a break of a trend channel, we expect a retest of the extremes. And we had the first break of this huge downtrend here. So we can expect a retest of the lows. But of course, this will not happen within the next few days. I think this is a long-term target. This is a long-term, let's say, aim that prices are coming down here and retesting the lows that were made pretty much in October last year. And we can find these lows around the 3,600 levels. This can play out within a month. So this is a long-term target, as I just said. For the short-term point of view, you can see these bands here. And whenever prices are approaching the upper or lower bands, we see a pullback to the middle of these bands. And this pretty much, we had like in every situation that you can see, prices were approaching the lower bands and they were pulled back to the middle and then to the upper bands. Once reached the upper bands, they were pulled back to the middle and to the lower. And you can see this over the time working all the time. You can see like prices were pushing lower here, coming to the middle, pushing to the upper bands. And now recently, we also had prices moving around the lower bands here, coming to the middle, and now approaching the upper bands. And we can see there was a pullback from the upper bands to the middle. So in general, you can also see this yellow range here. And for the first time, we had a breakout of this range to the top side. So whenever this happens, prices like to retest the breakout area, which happened here pretty much on the 7th of February. And the retest failed. So we came back inside the range, inside the middle of the range. So in general, we are in a critical moment because first of all, we had this break of this downtrend here. So we expect a retest of the lows. And also we had the failed breakout of out of this range, and we are expecting prices to come back inside the range. So for the coming trading week, right now it's hard to predict anything. And if I see and look at price action, I would say we stay a bit more inside this range, with more likely bias that we're heading to the last lows that we're making in October last year. But yeah, interesting is that we are back inside this yellow range, and this uptrend structure here, this green uptrend played out by a break and a couple legs to a new high. Also, we saw a pullback of these bands here, so prices are going to the middle of these bands and for longer term approaching the lower bands again. So we have a few things working at the same time that are telling us that prices will head lower towards the lower bands, and as a second target to retest the lows from October. But as I said, this can take a while, this can take weeks, months, and nothing is for sure, of course. So don't take this as a guarantee. But from price action point of view, we have some indicators that are showing that prices will go lower here, testing the lower bands or staying a bit in the middle area, and for longer term that we see a retest of the lows that were made last year. Having a quick look on the news calendar, because the coming trading week will be very interesting. You can see directly here on Tuesday, we have a very important news event. This is the CPI. This is a very important measurement for the Fed to decide if they will increase the rates more or if we stay at the same level. And this is the inflation data that will come on Tuesday, 7:30 in the morning. And pretty much you can expect a huge volatility spike if there are some surprises. There is a forecast of 0.4% for the core CPI and 6.2% for the CPI on the yearly basis. And in difference, for example, to the core PPI, which we have here on Thursday, the CPI is checking the services and goods purchased by consumers, while the PPI is checking services and goods sold by producers. So this is a difference here. So check out on Tuesday, 7:30, the CPI. Then on Wednesday, we have the retail sales and core retail sales. Very important to see the purchasing power of US consumers. So have a look on that. It's also 7:30 is before the market opening. So usually you shouldn't be inside any trades anyway. But if you are trading the overnight and pre-market, then watch out for this on Wednesday, on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, as I just mentioned, there is the PPI. Also 7:30 in the morning. So everything is before the market opening. And also look at the unemployment claims, because right now the market wants to see rising unemployment rate, because when unemployment rate is rising, that gives the Fed a signal to pivot, to not increase the rates any further. And that's it for the week. I think on Friday there are not so important news. You can see it always with the color here on the events. The red events are high impact news. So really the focus should be on Tuesday with the CPI, the inflation data, and of course on Wednesday with the purchasing power for US consumers. So that's it for this week. I wish you a great weekend. I wish you a great trading week. Stay out of the trades before the news and shortly after the news, because there will be a huge volatility, spikes up and spikes down, and you don't want to be in any trades. Have a great trading week and speak to you next week.